Welcome to News 6 Extra. I'm Christopher Heath. It's Monday, October 20th. Beautiful weekend has come and gone. We are getting towards the end of the month. Kathleen, how was the weekend? How were things?
Good. It was fun. I went to Epcot. My mom came to town. We went to Epcot. It was fun, you know. We rode Guardians of the Galaxy 4 times.
Wow.
Yes. So it was fun. We had a good time.
I got to tour that when they were still under construction, and so you got to go inside and see the building. The ride's actually in, and see how massive that thing is in there. But I never got to ride it. So fun. Is it kind of like the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster a little bit?
I would say it's kind of a combination between like Space Mountain and Rock and Roller Coaster, but it's very smooth. It's not like jerky like Space Mountain. It's very smooth, and you get to listen to music while it's going. And we did have one little problem. The 4th time we rode it, it did stop in the middle. So that wasn't fun. But it only lasted, we was only down for a couple minutes, so then we were able to keep going. But
nice.
Yeah.
Well, good times. You guys do a little adventuring around the world?
You know, we didn't. We stayed right
Really?
in that area around Guardians. We rode Test Track and we rode Guardians 4 times. But when you're waiting in line like an hour and a half each time, you know, you don't have a lot of time for other things.
I don't know. I used to always enjoy going to World Showcase and just kind of walking around and just, even going in shops you've been in 100 times, just kind of soaking up the ambiance of, the great detailing that Disney does out there. So nice.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you got to ride it 4 times, which is again 4 more times than I've ridden it. But
oh, you gotta go. It's one of their best rides, I think.
nice. Okay, well, I'll give that a check. All right. Well, and speaking of fantastic weather, we have again fantastic weather on deck for us. Candace Campos has a look at this.
It is going to be a nice stretch of weather over the next couple of days. Now, as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, it will be a touch warmer. We're watching another cold front that will be coming through, bringing with it just a few scattered showers late Tuesday and into early Wednesday morning. But now, once that front clears, we're going to see slightly cooler temperatures, still staying mostly dry Thursday, Friday, and into your weekend. And although the weather locally here is certainly feeling more like fall, it's still hurricane season after all. Still watching very closely Invest 98L. Now, as we take a wider view, the first front that came through brought us some rain late Sunday, is also the reason why our Monday is as comfortable as it is. But then we have front number 2. That's going to be making its way into Central Florida again late Tuesday and into Wednesday. So as we take here hour by hour, our highs throughout the afternoon will continue to rebound near to just below average in those mid-80s. But you can see just a few in and out clouds throughout the afternoon. Now, as we head into Tuesday, notice our winds start moving in more out of the southwest, and that will start to develop a couple scattered showers, all leading up to the arrival of that front that will clear on Wednesday. So overall rain chances on Tuesday, not very impressive, only about 20%, with really nice drying, a slightly cooler air mass settling in behind it on Thursday. So we are tracking the tropics as of the 8 a.m. update on Monday. National Hurricane Center has bumped up the chances for Invest 98L to develop, giving it now an 80% chance of development, most likely starting to develop as it moves more in towards that kind of the central Caribbean. So these are the main tropical takeaways. Again, it is expected to become our next named storm, which, by the way, the next name on the list is Melissa. The forecast, though, they do disagree a bit on intensity, timing, track, all of that pretty much beyond Wednesday, which is why Floridians should just keep a close tabs on this system, because as you can see here, come Wednesday, everything's in pretty much in agreement, and then things start to kind of span out a little bit. Some take it more towards Jamaica and Cuba. Some zigzag it around Hispaniola for several days. So again, while as of now, nothing is focused here into Central Florida, it's still in the vicinity, and it's certainly worth watching. This is the European model, just kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. You see it really starting to develop as late as October 28th. That's beyond this week and into next week. And then it starts making its way further north just in time for a pretty strong cold front to make its way into Central Florida. So the combination of the two, the timing of this front just before Halloween, as well as eventually what this could be is Melissa, we'll have to watch pretty closely. Now, if this eventual storm potentially pulls in that cold air, we could actually be in store for a pretty nice, almost cool Halloween. Temperatures as of now on October 31st could be in those 70s, with the evening temperatures around trick-or-treating time in the 60s. There's a big disclaimer, though, with this forecast, as, again, we're still talking over 2 weeks out with that trick-or-treating forecast during the day staying in those low 80s. As we get results here, their full 7-day forecast. Do expect some really nice weather throughout the next couple of days. Right now, it looks like the more comfortable weather expected behind that front after Wednesday.
Always got to keep an eye on that Halloween forecast because it depends on what kind of costume you're going to be rocking. I mean, there's years where I've had to, either put on layers because it's gotten cold for Halloween or, try and maybe reconsider that last minute idea. Because I had one year where I had this heavy cloak and then it turned out to be like 85 degrees. And I was sweating bringing the kids around the neighborhood. Okie doke. Speaking of the kids, Roblox. If you've got kids, you probably are aware of this gaming platform. It is ubiquitous among the kids and they love it. It's got different games they play. They go on, they talk to each other, but the state of Florida has started raising some major red flags when it comes to Roblox and some of the protections or not that are in place or some that are not in place. Now, the state has already issued some civil subpoenas. Now, the Attorney General is going after criminal subpoenas. Stephanie Rodriguez has the story.
A breeding ground for child predators. That's what Florida AG calls Roblox, a game with 380 million monthly users worldwide. In April, the state issued a civil subpoena against Roblox. This, the AG said, uncovered proof that these predators solicit information and locations from children in an effort to abuse them. The state claims Roblox is aware of this and allows the game to be used this way. The criminal subpoena is focusing on grooming, inadequate age verification, failure to warn or protect children, failure to report incidents, and insufficient content moderation. Over 30 families in 2 states are suing the company. CBS News spoke with a father who was part of a lawsuit against Roblox, who says a predator posing as a 16-year-old offered his son Roblox gift cards in exchange for sexually explicit photos, which the son sent via Discord, a different gaming and chat platform.
At a certain point, it was, tell me what your address is. And when he said no, he's like, well, I have these photos of you, I'll tell your parents.
Roblox's chief safety officer told CBS News that the company does not allow image sharing in filtered chats and has rolled out over 100 safety features this year, including age estimation and increased chat monitoring to protect all users. The AG claims that of the 1,000 child predator arrests in the state so far this year, many of those investigations led back to Roblox. And if the company is not willing to work with the state on improvements, they'll see them in court. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting for News 6.
So back here in Central Florida, well, we have more red light cameras than anywhere else. You look at Orange County, you look at City of Orlando, we are number one, number 2 for all the state in most red light cameras. In fact, something like 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4 red light cameras in the entire state of Florida is either in Orange County or the City of Orlando. I tell you that to tell you this. Orlando wants to double the number of red light cameras it has. Now, the city will tell you that it's all about public safety and that they've done these studies, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sure they've done the studies and I'm sure that there is some, we want to make things safer out there. But drivers who Angie Casada spoke to have another theory as to why the city wants to double its red light cameras. Here's her report.
Driving in Central Florida, they seem to be everywhere. Red light cameras, always watching. Run the red light and plan on getting a ticket for $158. Now Orlando is looking to expand its camera network from 25 to 80.
When we talk about benefits, you have to think about it. It's that reminder to drivers. Wow, if I'm not paying attention, I could receive a consequence in the mail and I didn't even realize that they were watching. Yeah. So it kind of keeps drivers a little bit in check.
While the city cites safety, drivers suspect something else is behind the expansion.
It might be money-making for the city, but it's true that city has to make money somehow. So that's how they do it. They are toll roads, they are parking tickets for little things. So this is just one of them.
They're probably trying to police the area and make it more of a police state, and I know that costs more money usually, so you have to inspect what you expect. If the people that are from the city don't like it, they have to find out what's the reason behind it. If it's going to cost them more money, maybe that'll hurt them.
In addition to the red light cameras, the city will also expand speed cameras in school zones. The city says every location was picked based on data, and each camera will be clearly marked before enforcement begins.
Angie Casada, News 6.
Here's the thing. When you go and poll, and the state actually requires municipalities to have red light cameras to submit data to Florida Department of Transportation, and when you actually go poll these numbers, You see intersections where they have red light cameras in place, and they have to have like, okay, had the accidents, what were the accidents before the camera installation, what were the accidents after? And there's no through line there. When you look at the data, you'll see that there's some intersections where the number of accidents went down, but then there's about as many that when you look at the number of accidents went up after the red light cameras were installed. People, jamming on their brakes when the light goes just from green to yellow, that like freaks out and they hit the brakes, somebody hits them from behind. So one of the things to keep in mind is that of the money that gets collected from this $158 per ticket, half of it goes to Tallahassee. The state by statute gets a big chunk of this. And the other chunk, well, the other chunk is divvied up between the municipality and the vendor for the red light cameras. So a lot of that money gets taken right out of your community. But anyway, safety, maybe. Anyway, all right, stay with us. We'll be right back to talk about a imposter scheme, a theft at the Louvre. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Louvre. I took Spanish in high school, not French, but we'll get to that. And then attractions. It's all on the other side of the break. We'll see you back. Welcome back to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. This week in schemes and ripoffs, Lewis Bolden has a really kind of alarming story out of Lady Lake. A woman who got scammed out of her life savings with crooks saying that they are government employees. We talk about these schemes every week, and it always seems that there's always some new angle somebody's playing, some heartstring they're trying to pull on. And in this one, it cost her life savings. Lewis Bolden has the story.
I couldn't believe it happened.
80-year-old Patricia Toder says the scheme that went on for weeks and cost her life savings happened with a phone call.
And they were so good at what they did.
The caller texted her this government ID and identified herself as investigator Jamie Morris with the Office of Inspector General. First, she said Toder was under investigation.
She scared the devil out of me. She said that I was going to be arrested.
She later said Toder was actually a fraud victim and an employee of her bank was the suspect.
She had me go to Wells Fargo and take $20,000 out cash.
Okay.
And because they said they had to take it and put it in the government to save my money.
Relieved that she wasn't going to jail, Toder did as she was told. Because the bank questioned the large transaction, the crooks then convinced her to buy gold bars, lots of them. In cash and gold bars, Toder handed the crooks nearly $150,000.
Why gold bars?
I have not seen this. This is a first for me.
Detective Brian Campbell with the Lady Lake Police Department says internet telephone scams are difficult to prosecute.
But that's how they can get away with it. It's tough to to trace.
According to the Federal Trade Commission, government impersonation scams have skyrocketed over the last few years. In 2020, adults aged 60 and over who lost more than $100,000 had $55 million in combined losses. In 2024, that number jumped to $445 million. The FTC recommends you never move money to protect it. Hang up and verify by calling the agency directly and block unwanted calls.
Don't pick up a call that you don't know.
Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at theinvestigators@WKMG.com. I'm Louis Bolden, News 6.
One other good piece of advice you can toss into there is that maybe reach out to somebody else, a trusted friend, family member, somebody to bounce it off of them, get a second perspective. I still remember my dad, before he passed away, he got a call from somebody, purporting to be with the IRS. And they're like, "Mr. Heath, we are on our way to come arrest you." And my dad called me and, he was like, "I just got this call." And I was like, "Well, two things, Dad. One, the IRS is just going to, they're not going to arrest you. They're just going to take money out of your account. They have that power. And two, they rarely call you and give you the heads up before they arrest you. They show up and arrest you." And I said, I would say this is 100% a scam. But it was one of those things where they're so good at kind of playing on those heartstrings and just scaring you. So take a moment, call a friend, call a family member, and just be like, "Does this sound legit to you? What do you think?" Because they prey on the fear. They prey on you to make a bad decision in the moment. All right, Kathleen. You're my resident French expert here. The Louvre.
That's how I pronounce it.
I've always called it the Louvre. I've actually been to the Louvre, but I was a kid, so I'm wondering now if I've been mispronouncing it. I've had several people in here try and correct me on that.
Well, I'm not sure. I didn't take French either. I took Spanish in high school, and I don't remember much of that. But so I don't know. But I've always pronounced it the Louvre. So
that's what we're going to go with. Whatever you call it, yes. They're missing some priceless jewels. Apparently, crooks made off with these jewels while people were just like milling about, checking out the Mona Lisa and doing other stuff. And next thing you know, Bob's your uncle. Jewels are gone. Straight out of a movie right here.
Yeah, the details are crazy.
So Elizabeth Palmer has our story here on the priceless jewels that were abducted, and whether or not Pierce Brosnan or Kathleen Zeta-Jones are prime suspects. Here's her report.
It was a heist in plain sight. The thieves parked a mobile ladder against the wall of the Louvre at 9 on Sunday morning. Then police say they broke this window and made straight for the sumptuous Apollo Gallery, where France's crown jewels are on display. It took them 7 minutes and a circular saw to steal 9 priceless objects, including a pearl and diamond tiara made for Napoleon III's wife, Eugenie, and a whole sapphire-studded set. David Chanteron is an art historian who's worked in the Louvre.
What will the thieves do with the pieces they've robbed?
It's very difficult to know what's happened after this moment.
It's possible, he says, the robbery was a special order for a private collector, but more likely the treasures will be broken up and the gems sold. All that is, except this crown. The robbers dropped it in the street as they made their getaway.
Wasn't the glass in the display cabinets reinforced somehow?
Incredibly, he says, it wasn't. After the robbery, tourists were ushered to the exits. Many disappointed not to see the star attraction here, the Mona Lisa, though not Jim and Joan Carpenter from California.
It's great. This is our last day of a long trip, and this is the most exciting part today.
Today, more tourists were outside the Louvre, some to visit, others to see the scene of the crime. But no one is getting inside. The Louvre is closed for a second day to let police and museum security experts do their work. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Paris.
Now, Kathleen, I do have to point out, when I came in today, you were wearing a very nice pearl crown. And when I asked you about it, you got very snippy with me and said it was none of my business. I'm now questioning that.
You know, I think I do like the crown, the pearl crown, but the sapphires, that set was really nice. I see why they stole that one. but it's just crazy in the middle of the day, all these people around. I mean, how do you? I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, you'd have to assume. I mean, they, clearly somebody's casing the joint. You don't just show up with a ladder and a circular saw and not know exactly where to go. And, my question, and the gentleman there kind of sort of answered it, and the reporter as well. Like, you can't, like, these aren't exactly, like, you're not just walking down to the pawn shop and hawking these.
Right.
Like,
right.
they're going to notice that a crown designed for Napoleon's wife is suddenly, you're willing to take 20 cents on the dollar for. Like that'll raise some red flags. But like, yeah, you pop the stones out and I guess you sell them off one by one. It seems like a real tragedy there.
I know. And these are historic items, and then dropping the crown in the middle of the street. Like,
yeah, that's just sloppy robbers.
Right. But I mean, they were sophisticated enough to pull this off, but then you couldn't secure the crown. Like, it's
not sophisticated enough to zip the duffel bag. Yeah.
Right. It's very, very strange to me. And I wonder if there was some kind of inside connection there, so they were able to pull this off. It's very weird.
There's I think it's on Netflix. My wife and I watched it several years ago about like some of the great art thefts in history and so how many of them are unsolved, and the suspicion, because it's it's art, it's kind of unique works here. You can't just, again, hand them off to somebody and that they're in like private hands at private homes, because if they're displayed in public, it's gonna be like, well, that got stolen out of Boston back in, 72. So it's just fascinating, the work that goes into this. And then, the difficulty, again, in moving the merchandise after it's all said and done, because you're stealing very famous, like, it's not like you're stealing $1,000 in cash. Right. These are items people are going to recognize.
Right.
So, all righty. We are on to the top attractions. This is on clickorlando.com. America's top attractions right here in Central Florida. It's not what you're thinking it is. And I say that because I'm assuming you're thinking Disney or Universal or, Fun Spot or SeaWorld or one of the, nope. TripAdvisor has Kennedy Space Center at the number 3 spot. Here we go, right there. There's KSC. It's not the only attraction on there. Coming in number 5, the Stetson Mansion in DeLand. Others making the top 5, including the Empire State Building, Central Park, and Sun Studio in Memphis. Sun Studio, obviously, where Elvis, as well as many other, I want to say Johnny Cash too, got his start there. A lot of famous artists. But have you been out to KSC?
I have. It's been a while. I used to go more when I was like a teenager, but I've been out there several times, and I can see, especially globally, why it's so popular with all the launches and everything nearby. I can see why it made the list, but I was surprised that the theme parks didn't.
I like when you go out there. Have you been out there since they got the Atlantis out there?
You know what? I think I have.
Okay. Seeing that up close, because I don't think you appreciate the true size of it. And then when you see it up close, you're like, whoa, this is enormous.
Right.
And the idea that we flew that up to space, and then it's a glider, so it comes back, and it's, gravity brings it back in. But just to see it and realize the engineering and the everything that went behind it, and just to appreciate how much of a monumental step forward that was for the space program, it's really pretty fascinating.
Oh yeah, and even things dating back to like the Mercury and Apollo days, and I mean, it's just fascinating to see and to realize like what all they accomplished, and to see how far we've kind of come since then. It's a nice place to go to visit for sure.
If I remember correctly, you went to space camp?
I did go to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama, when I was 16.
See? And so you go out there scratching that itch. It's like, I could do this.
Right. That's why I went a lot as a teenager. And years ago, they used to give passes if you wrote in and asked, and they would let you like go on property to see the launches fairly close. And so right along the river there. So I did that a couple of times too. So, but it's a fun place to go.
Well, good for KSC. It is
Yes.
a real treat out there. And I recommend when people come here and they're asking like, well, what should I go do? I say, the beaches are always fun. Obviously you're probably here for Disney or Universal or SeaWorld or something, but do take a day and go. Just go check it out. The history, the everything that went into it. It's very impressive, and you kind of stand there in awe, but cool place.
Yes.
All right, Kathleen. Thank you, as always, for all your hard work today.
Sure.
Thank you for putting together a fantastic show. Good luck pawning off that crown that you have, and You know, just as long as I can wet my beak on come a little bit of taste of, you know, when you sell it, let me know.
Okay.
I can
all right.
I can vouch for your whereabouts. Kathleen and
Okay.
I were distributing food for orphan puppies. We were
Right.
definitely not at the Louvre.
We were not there.
And I have no idea where she got that crown from. She's always had it. She had it weeks ago. That's a completely different crown. Anyway. All right. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you to Candace for the weather. And of course, thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow at 12:30 to do this all over again. We break news all the time on clickorlando.com. And we'll be on the air today at 4 o'clock for News 6. Lisa Bell will be on TV. She's sitting right there. Hi, Lisa. She'll be on the TV. I won't. She will. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.